YouTube, it's Brad Phillips. We got the second thoughts on the Aeros F-15 with some cool decals. Let's talk about landing gear for a second. How beautiful is that landing gear? We're gonna fly this with ordnance today. Ordinary second thoughts. We don't go into great detail on lots of the setup stuff, but we have that in the unboxed build radio setup, which came out a few weeks ago. And this plane is sweet, so we're just gonna get to flying. All right, so sunset right over the trees, takeoff flaps, got the wheels dropped over the edge of the driveway. Here we go. Oh, beautiful. Gear going up. Absolutely gorgeous looking plane. Twin 64 millimeters of pure delight. Using the rudder to keep the nose pointed down. I already hear beeping, that's normal and not a big deal. Look at that, looks so sweet. So guys, when you fly EDFs, takeoff flaps are still deployed, by the way. You have to sort of understand that you're gonna have some sag on a conventional pack. Look at how sweet that looks. Out of the flaps altogether. Those takeoff flaps produce a lot more drag than I realized. Look how much faster this is.
That's crazy.
She even climbs better, surprisingly. Full landing flaps, check this out, guys. Get it flying, and then down she comes. And I have my alarm set to 4.6, so that's why she's beeping at us. Reduce the throttle down, look at that thing cruise. Nav lights really work well. Keep that nose pointed down. I don't want to fall into a stall here. Absolutely tremendously gorgeous. That is so sweet going through the low point. Then we'll kind of roll off and then take a turn up here in the air. Being nice to my battery. Full speed pass here. We got a 4-minute timer set. Man, that looks so good, doesn't it? So for those of you that don't know, this is the Aeros F-15. I believe this one we actually did use an AR-631 or 630. Did we do a 630? I can't remember.
I think we did 631.
But it wasn't the Vector. It was one of the first that didn't have the Vector in the Aeros lineup for us. Man, that is just absolutely phenomenal looking. Straight down the runway, you good? Little throttle to get her flying quicker. And there it is over the killing zone. The Eagle killing zone. We're a minute 30 out on our timer. The wind is just really calm right now. Takeoff flaps coming in. You good where you are?
Yes.
I want to try landing this way. Gear coming out. I don't know if you guys can see good. I have to be a lot further back than I'd like to for this, but it's okay. Going right through the blinding zone. Just want to see how it feels. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to actually hit it. Okay, out of the gear, into the throttle hard. Use that rudder to get the nose back over. So sweet. Throwing caution to the wind. Camera crew, you're gonna have to go out toward the runway so you can catch all the angles. We're gonna try landing the way we did the last 2 times. Takeoff flaps. Just relaxing. 15% throttle. Gear coming out. Landing flaps just came out. We're just gonna bring it down to the low point, let it relax, let it lose some altitude. I like that approach. It's good. That's what it's gonna be, guys. Gear going up. We got 12 seconds left on the timer. Got the time.
5.
Oh yeah, she's counting down right now.
2.
No pressure, Brian. Okay, we're just gonna relax into it. Out of the throttle altogether. Landing flaps going out over the Vampire killing zone. Let it relax. Keep that nose pointed down so you can keep your airspeed up. Oh yeah, baby! Woohoo! Little bit of janking just to try to slow it down. Woo! Yes! And we got it down in one piece, throttle cuts on, 28 seconds. I bet that thing is gonna be dead in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
No dead stick landing in the snow. You may have noticed that in the snow, there's these little icebergs right here at the end of the runway. And so if you try to dead stick land into those things, there's a wee bit more damage. By the way, nitrite gloves, in case you guys are wondering, these things do take the edge off. You're still gonna freeze your tail off if you're flying in cold weather. What are we, about 10 degrees today, Fahrenheit?
Yep, I think so.
Supposed to be nicer this week, but look how dead calm this thing is.
Finally.
Beautiful and finally. So, what have we learned about the Aeros F-15 from this flight today? We have learned that it is still as good as we thought it was. We've also learned how good it does in the calm. We've also learned that it does good in the cold, which is surprising. I didn't know these are Aeros packs. They're not smart batteries. So Spectrum smart batteries have performed really phenomenally for us. But in the 32 milliamp or 3200 milliamp 6S size class, we've had basically limited experience because most of the planes we've been flying have been either 4,000, which we've had more problems with than any of the other sizes. I don't know why that is, or 5,000 or 7,000 milliamp hours. So we'll run down here, check for damage, and we'll come right back. Okay, so just so you don't think there's any funny business, we're at 2 minutes and 5 here. I'm gonna do a little back taxi here. Probably have to go all the way out and then turn it around. Boy, that thing looks absolutely phenomenal. Oh yeah, here comes one of the neighbors. He's probably wondering if I'm gonna go out in front of him. Yeah, he was. But that's all right. He'd be a good neighbor. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna back taxi that thing. You may have noticed I tried to cut back and forth on my landing. That is by design so that I could slow this thing down a little bit. Look how beautiful that looks. Those flaps down and everything. Absolutely phenomenal. Out of the flaps now. Just coming up here. Listen to the phenomenal sound, folks. That's at 18% throttle. Just love the sound.
Sounds so
so
good.
realistic. And it doesn't seem like much, but you'd be knocking your plants over in the house and everything if you had this sitting at 18. Let's give it a little more throttle, get it up to speed, break the barrier, the inertia barrier. Got a little bit of vibration there, and I think that's probably because those back wheels do like to spin a little bit. And what you gotta do is if you have a problem with that, just get out your, I believe it's a 1 millimeter drive, and you can just tighten those things up. But look how nice the taxiing is. This thing does, it's second to none in the taxiing arena. Love the nav lights. It'd be nice if there was a little bit more forward-facing light for visibility, because look how much those opaque wings almost block your nav lights in a forward flight. But look how tight you can turn this thing. Absolutely sweet. Look at that. We had room to spare. Tons of room to spare, in fact. Just love the livery on this thing. I didn't know what I would think of it, but boy, it just looks so stinking cool. The mains look like they're splayed out pretty bad, but that's just the way they actually come out of the box. Okay, throttle cuts on. We're 4 minutes in on the timer, past our 4-minute timer, and I would say that that plane does just fantastic. If you're looking for a good F-15, I would say this is definitely the place to be. I know that there's a few competitive offerings, and to be perfectly frank, I haven't flown them, but I can say this, I like this plane a lot. One word of warning, I think it's a battery eater. So that being said, what do I mean when I say a battery eater? I mean that it's gonna chew through your batteries, and I just want you guys to understand, I didn't push this past the limit. Okay, we're 22.1, 3.7, 3.65, 3.73, 3.64, 3.66, and 3.73. Now, what do I mean by battery eater? What I mean is this plane will kill an otherwise healthy battery if you're not careful. If you push it to the limit, you will puff your pack. You need to be aware of that. Respect the timer, set it to 4, use some judgment for once, unlike your host on this wonderful channel. But I would say also, the other thing is get as high a C pack as you can. Now, surprisingly, this Aeros pack has been fine. We have 2 of these, and we've had pretty good luck. I don't like when they sit back like that, but that's the way they all are. Look at this. We've already got some puffage going on, okay? This is a 35C pack. It is a high quality pack. There is no cheap 6S pack. There just isn't one. Okay, so if you're getting them cheap, let me know where you are. But I would say the smart packs are probably gonna suffer the same demise. On a 30C, you'll note that we didn't push it crazy, and then the back taxi was that low percentages, like maybe 15 to 35%, just to get it up the hill, and then it was just real low for cool factor. But that being said, I just want you guys to be aware, we do have a little bit of puffage here. This pack has been flown, I believe, 4 or 5 times. So just extrapolate that over a summer of flying this thing. So you need to be aware, if you have a 100C pack, make use of it in this plane. If you have a 50C pack, make use of it in this plane. I can say the exact same thing for every twin engine, twin EDF plane that we have flown, for the record. So I'm not trying to beat up Arrows on this one. I think they did a great job on this one. And I think that the EDFs and power supplies, everything is right. The ESCs are right. The only thing that's not right is the fact that the battery technology has not quite caught up with some of our demands, namely twin EDF planes that use a single pack. I think what would work better in a plane like this for future reference is A, it needs to be bigger so that you can house 2 of these. And yes, that's what I just said. You're gonna need 2 to make a plane not shoot through your packs. Why is that? Because the draw is just not there. So even in a 35C high quality pack like this, or a 30C smart pack, I tend to think that you're gonna puff them. So be aware. Batteries are not cheap. I don't wanna see you guys destroy your batteries. That being said, if you know it's just gonna be for this plane and you can tolerate coming down at 3 minutes, you're probably never gonna get it to puff like that. So watch your power consumption when you get off the ground. You don't do a straight up climb. You're just gonna puff your pack. Get out there, let gravity help you out. It kind of reminds me of the way the 80 millimeter F-15 by E-flite would shoot through packs, and that thing is a battery eater too. It's a single engine, but it is just a battery eater because it's heavy. Another one that was really bad about battery eating is the SU-30. That SU-30 was a battery chewer, and that was chewing through the best batteries we had. So ultimately gravity took the battery that took that plane, but I think it would have taken the battery just by puffing it. So a couple thoughts there, hopefully save you a couple of bucks in your pursuit on F-15 excitement. This plane is definitely one of the coolest planes that we have, and we have a lot of cool planes. I still think that the F-16 by E-flite edges it out in terms of cool factor, but there again, you're talking about an 80 millimeter, not a twin 64. Now, twin 64 compared to 80, I would put them in the same arena, but this would be on the much cheaper side of the arena. Let's just be clear about that. But this thing is extremely scale, very detailed, very nice. I would say that it's slightly lower echelon than the F-16, so maybe not totally of a fair fight. But I love the F-16-80. It is still my favorite jet by far. But also I have history with the F-16, having grown up watching them fly in person for most of my youth and a lot of my adult life. They've actually since moved the squadron out of Des Moines. So anyway, love the F-15, absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't already got one, seriously consider getting one. And you know, we review a lot of planes, and it's not very often. I mean, I do ask you guys to buy the planes to help support us, but what I'm trying to tell you is if you like the E-flite F-15, it's a great beginner plane. It's gonna get you in the air, but it just leaves a lot to be desired in flyability. It's too easy to fly. It doesn't fly like a jet in that this has retracts. Retracts to me make a jet. If you don't have retracts, or if you don't fly it without landing gear with the understanding of landing on the belly, I just feel like those bogies make it look so ugly in the air, but yet it's a great flying plane. A lot cheaper, definitely has safe. This plane also has safe as we've equipped it. But I would not recommend this as a beginner EDF for a variety of reasons, namely puffing through packs, and they're expensive packs. And 2 would be obviously this thing has not a very wide wingspan, and it needs to fly fast, and it needs to land fast. So just be aware, it is not a hard to fly plane. The F-16-80 is harder to fly, harder to land, harder to take off, harder to do everything, but I also appreciate why it's hard, and I think it's sweet. So apples to oranges to a certain degree, but still, just want to give you guys my no BS approach on this. If you like the F-15, this is the best one I've flown, hands down. But it's also the only one in this echelon, so not to be deceptive. I haven't flown the free wing offering. I haven't flown a bunch of the other offerings out there, but this thing is sweet and I would highly recommend it. So what do you think, camera crew?
I think it's cool. It's a fun plane to watch. I like a lot of things about it.
And we're right down there, right
impressive.
next to us.
Yeah.
It's not like it's hard to fly. It's hard to land and it's easy to puff.
Yep. And
Okay.
those are the biggest jet.
Those are big jet related issues. The other thing too is it's very easy to overfly your timer because you're gonna get this thing in the air and you're gonna be
Yeah.
super excited to fly.
Yeah.
So without further ado, guys, buy one from the links in the video description below. The camera crew has a
I
comment.
have a further ado.
Yes.
We're working through camera issues.
Yes.
And people are going to tell me anyway, but can you please tell me how we're doing on this one? This is like 30 frames per second, Ultra HD, which should be 4K. But if you have an opinion, please let me know.
It's supposed to be 60 frames per second. I
I'm
believe.
working on it, but this phone is different.
Yes, it's new. We're
It's
always
new.
working through new things
I'm sorry,
on
I'm
Brian
trying.
Phillips RC. It doesn't seem like it, but yes, it took us years to get the audio right. Now we're trying to get the video upgraded. So
And
please
we're
bear
working
with
with
us.
a new editor, so
Yep, we're working on the new computer that we got a year ago. And finally, because we're
brain.
slow
Finally
adopters,
built.
because I'm hard-headed. So anyway, without further ado, check it out. Give another shot of this thing. One of the most gorgeous planes
Yeah,
out there on the market.
cool.
You can definitely get this one for your very own. Check the links in the video description below. Also, we're working on another yet to be released website that's gonna make it a lot easier for you guys to help support us, in that when you get there, you'll be able to buy stuff. And then when the links get updated, hopefully we'll have less broken links. If you ever do see a broken link, please let us know. We try to respond almost immediately. If I'm out at work, I'll call and have the camera crew get it fixed. And but beyond that, thanks to the patrons for all the support you're giving us. If you guys want to be a Patreon, we have links in the video description below, as well as PayPal gifts. We've been getting those randomly from time to time, and we appreciate that too. But mostly, we still feel like the best deal for you, the best deal for us, the best deal for the hobby in general is to buy these beautiful planes. Small commissions come to us from the companies we work with. You don't pay them. You don't pay any more for the planes. You just help support us, which is really cool, and we appreciate that. So stay tuned. So much more to come.